tier list off of every single character in 2.4. Um, I don't know why. Yeah, Miko's in this tier list. She's coming out in 2.5. She's not currently out now, but she's here, and we're just not gonna include her in the tier list. Don't worry about it. But we're gonna make a tier list starting with D, ending with S being the highest, D being the lowest of the all the characters in the game and who's the best. And the ranking criteria for this video will basically be how fun they are to play, how effective they are at their job, and how they stack up against everyone else in the game, right? So we'll start off with the most recent characters to have had a rerun, Ganyu and Zhongli. So Ganyu, off the bat, I think is S tier. Ganyu does so much damage in over such a wide radius and clumps the enemies together with her taunt very well. Her taunt works very well for clumping enemies and making everything very easy to kill. And if the enemies are affected by Hydro, they get frozen if you run the Melt comp with Xiangling and Bennett. And then whoever your fourth slot is. Personally, for mine, I run Zhongli as my fourth for the sustainability, for the HP. The shield won't break essentially because shield bot Zhongli is absolutely nuts. But yeah, I think Ganyu is a very very impeccable unit to use. I think there's no content in the game where she's not usable. She's a little bit harder to use in Spiral Abyss depending on the stage, but other than that, and depending on the rotation of the stages. But right now in the current Spiral Abyss, she works very well for the enemies that the hydro mimics, the ones that the Oceanid creates. She works very well against them because it's just instant freeze. You don't have to do anything about it. No hydro application, nothing like that. So if you run the melt comp there, it just melts and freezes them, so it's constant. They're not moving, they're not doing damage to you. You're able to shred them basically. So Zhongli, I also think is S tier. Zhongli allows you to not have to use your mind and makes the game easy mode. It's as simple as that. Zhongli is a staple in a lot of teams. He's very flexible. His main usage obviously is the shield or even burst support if you want to, have him come in, drop 100k meteor. Just he's incredible. I'm actually really enjoying them. If you didn't see the video from yesterday, I actually got both of them early. They both came early. Zhongli, little harder than Ganyu because I got Ganyu within like 7 multis, 7 temples, and Zhongli, it took, I believe, 130 to get him. So that was very nice. It was very nice to be able to save up for the next coming set of characters, which will be in Yaimiko and whoever she reruns with, whoever she has a rerun with, like whoever the character is rerunning with her. So next, we're going to go with Shenhe. So for me, I think personally, Shenhe is a solid B tier. I think she's a fantastic cryo support. Her dash is very good. It gives you that new quota stack where essentially for her it's 5 if you push E and 7 if you hold E. You get extra cryo damage depending on whichever version you use. 7 hits if you hold it, and 5 if you press it. And that really works well with like Ayaka's burst, because you can, if you have her C1, you don't even really need it to be C1, but let's just say you did. You could hold the E, you get the 7 stacks, swap in Ayaka, drop her in for her burst. 7 of those hits will be boosted in damage, and then you'll switch back into Shenhe, hold E again, and you've got 7 more. So 14 of Ayaka's total hits are boosted in damage, and it's fantastic. She's great in a freeze comp. Yeah, she's just a very good cryo character to have if you like to run cryo builds. Next up, right before her, I believe it was Arasaki Ito. So as soon as I can find Arasaki Ito, yes, there he is. So Arasaki Ito, or actually no, we should go with Yunjin first, because Yunjin is actually the 4-star that came out with Shenhe. I think, for me personally, I would put Yunjin in B with Shenhe, mainly because she does the same thing Shenhe does with that quota, on her burst, but it's 30, and it's for normal attacks only. So that wouldn't work with like Arataki Ito's charged attacks because obviously they're not the same thing. You know, they don't really work out the same way. It's more meant for characters like Tartaglia when he's in his melee stance, or Yoimiya. Yoimiya's arrows, like her normal attack arrows, because they, after you push her E, you get increased damage per shot that hits the opponents. I'm not entirely sure if that's only on hitting opponents, or if it just or if that's only in the E, where you apply pyro to your normals. But I know that her damage does indeed increase per hit. I just don't know whether or not that is with the E or not. Alright, so these next few we're just going to blaze by. Arataki Ito and Goro. Arataki Ito's easy S tier. A lot of people might disagree with me, but I think that this character, you need to triple crown him. I think Arataki Ito has the potential to be the strongest DPS character in the game. Arataki Ito is hitting like 40k per charged hit, right? And that's at C. Like, I have mine at C0. Crown normals, 40k per hit. Ushi, his cow, just 50k off hit. And then I'm talking about all of this in his burst, when you're in his burst. And then the 5 superlative stacks, flawless. And then if you even have him at C6, I as an Arataki, I believe in Arataki supremacy. Ito, I think at C6 is the best unit in the game. You can't argue it against me. Goro, what can I say? Goro, fantastic support. For his niche, I'm gonna put him in A, because he makes Arataki Ito just hit that much harder. He like, you could bring like a 40k charged attack Arataki Ito to like 50k. Like, it's ludicrous. And then his burst does the same thing his E does, but you can move around because it's on your character, it's on your person. You don't have to be in the area of effect. It's fantastic. And then from here we're just gonna go off the top, from the top down, because I actually didn't play Genshin before Arataki Ito, so I don't know in what order characters came out prior to Goro and Ito. So we're gonna go Traveler. So Traveler, I think I want to put him in C just because he's better than like Amber and stuff, but he's not the greatest, obviously. But actually, I'm gonna move them up. I'm moving them up to A. They're staying in A. Personally, I think that's probably where they deserve to be. He's kind of a character that you can use decently well in a lot of places. But it takes a lot of investment to get them there, and then the payout for such high investment isn't necessarily worth it. Like, it takes a lot of investment to get him to do what he needs to do, but it's just not quite there. He's like a lesser version of every Archon. Is kind of what he seems to be, other than like Electro, because his Electro doesn't give him the like a different stance or something like A. So then we'll just go Albedo. I think Albedo's S tier. Albedo on the Geo team with these 4. Oh my god, it's genuinely. I firmly believe that this is the best team in the game. The Geo team, I think it's the best team in the game. Albedo's E does constant Geo damage, and because it's a Geo construct, it matches well with Dominus Lapidus and Ushi, Ito's cow, as well as Goro's E, which all will they'll activate resonance together and continuously just do constant Geo damage across the entire field, nuking things essentially. Not to mention Albedo's extra hits that he gets already from his flower, just doing that off rip. Amber's D tier. I don't really have to talk about why Amber's D tier. Barbara is also D tier because Amber. I mean, because she's just a worse healer than everybody else, pretty much. Chi-Chi. I feel It's only because she's a 5-star and has that res that puts her above Amber and Barbara. Outside of that, she's not really the best, you know? So, um, you know what? No. I am absolutely going to make another set of tiers. I'm making another set of tiers. So we'll be right back. I'm going to add more tiers, and then we're going to jump right back in. All right, we're back. We added E and F tier. Absolutely, they're going down there. I'm gonna put them. I wanna do that. I feel like this. I feel like Chi Chi is not as good as Traveler can be, and like I said, and this is also my opinion. You guys obviously don't have to agree with this, but I feel like and it's actually I prefer that you don't agree with this, so we can have like a conversation in the comments about it, because I feel like if everybody has the same opinion, then it's like what's the point of watching even a tier list video anyway, right? Unless you're new to the game and you just want to know where everybody stands. In my personal opinion, I think Ayaka's A. I think Ayaka's easy A tier. But I want to move them back down now that there's more tiers. I feel that Ayaka is A. Ayaka's a strong unit. Her burst does ludicrous amounts of damage, just absolutely stupid amounts of damage. With Blizzard Strayer, she's constantly critting because she hits 40% crit rate if the enemy is frozen. So if you use her in a freeze comp with Shenhe or Ganyu or somebody like that, it's constantly frozen damage. And then like a Xingqiu probably. Speaking of Xingqiu, we're just gonna drop them right in S. Xingqiu is probably like the second best 4-star, right behind Bennett, where I'm just going to drop in S right now, because Bennett, easily the best support in the game. He's the best support in the game. 100%. Easily. Tar tags, I'm going to have to put in like high B. High B, because he's not... He's a fantastic hydro applicator. He constantly allows teams to proc Vaporize. If you run National with him, you run Bennett and Xiangling with him, they can do some incredibly crazy things with their Vaporize. Tartaglia is like the main enabler of the vapes, and Xiangling will constantly be vaporizing due to the amount of hydro application Tartaglia has. Beto, I think Beto is like in discussion one of the best 4-stars. Obviously not the best because there's these two, and same with Xiangling, who I also want to drop into wherever she is. Xiangling. It's hard, but because she's really good. For right now, we'll leave her there. But Xiangling's Pyronado does ludicrous amounts of damage. If you stack her with EM and ER, she'll constantly be vaporizing, doing massive amounts of damage because of the multiplication on top of your EM stat of vaporize, or even melt if you want to run her in a melt comp with Ganyu and Bennett, as well as maybe Zhongli, because that's who I run at. That's my 4 for the team. They do fantastic amounts of damage, and it's constantly just destroying all the hardest content in the game. It's a wild team to have to run. Chongyun, I think Chongyun is fine. I think Chongyun's not the best, but he's obviously not bad by any means, because he's the final 4-star piece of National that often gets removed for a 5-star, whether that 5-star be Tartaglia. You could put Ganyu in it. You could put the Hu would be a good pick for National. There's a lot of good characters you could just drop in National. Raiden National is one of my favorites, personally. D-Luke. I think D-Luke is fine. I don't think there's anything impeccable about him. His ult is kind of counterintuitive because it pushes enemies away, and you're a melee character. You kind of want to keep them close to you, do more pyro damage. It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, I find myself being able to deal with it very easily, but it can get annoying sometimes if you don't want to position yourself to knock them into a wall or anything to keep them in that place, Diona, I think, is a fantastic support in terms of her shield. Her shield is great. Her heals are great. She's kind of like Bennett, but with a shield and nowhere near as much DPS added to the team. Fischl, I think Fischl is also phenomenal. I think Fischl is a phenomenal for Vapo teams along with Beto. Beto and Fischl together with like Tartaglia and maybe Bennett for the heals and the buffs is possibly a fantastic, like, it's a fantastic vape team. Taser team. It's a fantastic taser team for your electro comps, and Tartaglia is constantly applying hydro, so that way Beto's ult as well as any of their skills can constantly be electro charging, as well as Beto's ult is normally just shocking 2 or more enemies within a vicinity of one another. Beto's ult is truly incredible for like the taser team. Hu Tao, I think is fantastic. Her normal attacks when you push your E do so much damage. If you run her with a hydro applicator like Xingqiu, I think I would rather Xingqiu than Tartaglia personally, because Xingqiu you could pop ult, switch into Hu Tao, E, and then constantly, because your normal attacks are sending out the rain swords, you're constantly vaporizing and, making it so that way you're constantly multiplying your damage within the ICD, of course, within your ICD limitations. Jean. Jean's heal is okay, and her E is fine for swirl and damage, but I feel like she's a little lackluster. Like, she's just missing something. Like, she's not phenomenal, but she's okay. Kaya, I feel the same way about. I feel like Kaya just doesn't do enough damage. Sure, you're supposed to use him in like a freeze comp where his burst can, help perma-freeze enemies if you're running him with somebody like Mona or Xingqiu, and you're doing normals and you're constantly close to them freezing everything, then it's fine. But for me, personally, I just feel like Kaya is just a little lackluster. Kaching doesn't do the damage you need her to. Kaching just doesn't hit hard enough. And sure, you can run her physical, but I feel like at that point you're missing a large portion of the E that you could be using the second hit of the E from the stiletto. You're missing out on burst damage because now you're stacking physical damage on her. You're using her as a physical carry, and I feel like it's just it feels like it's a little bit of a waste, especially since she infuses her E infuses her sword with Electro, so now you can't really use the second part of her E, so you would have to charge attack to make it explode, which is fine, but it's like it looks like she was meant to be built to be an Electro carry, and she just doesn't do that as well as somebody like Raiden Shogun, which I really do feel like, as much as people are like, oh, she's only a support, I'm like, no, you haven't seen mine, so Klee, I'll put Klee in D. Maybe C. Yeah, we'll put her in C. She's not terrible. Same character. Mona, I think, is a good hydro applicator, but outside of that, I feel like and her burst, being able to, stack up in all those one-shot comps, absolutely like helping you blast enemies into next year is always, it's always fun to one-shot an enemy or two, but she's not very much the most applicable unit always. She's great in the Morgana comp. Some freeze comps are really good with her. Yeah. Ningguang, I feel, is kind of like she's kind of hit or miss with me. Like, I feel like she's miss for me, but she's hit or miss with most people. I feel like nobody's like in between about her. This next pick is actually going to, if somebody like who's not new to the Genshin community is most definitely watching this, somebody's gonna really hate this, but I feel like she's just less strong Itto. I feel like that's literally what she is. She just hits a little less hard than Itto, maybe like 20k less. So if he's doing 50, she's doing like 30. And but she's so powerful. She does so much damage. It's just not Itto. Matter of fact, we'll put her down here. Most people would be like, oh, she's D, E, or F. And I'm like, no. You haven't seen it. Razor's nuts. Physical carry Razor, absolutely incredible. He ludicrous. And then if you pop his, his stand, his Q, he's constantly doing electro damage as well as the physical, so you're not losing any out on any physical to add electro damage. So it's nice for enemies who are immune to electro and stuff. Sucrose. I Sucrose, in terms of how good she is, she's like B, but I hate Sucrose. I hate her playstyle. I don't like using Sucrose. I actually genuinely hate it. And we're gonna get to the character who I prefer to use in every spot that people are like, put her in. And like I hate her. Venti, I don't hate Venti. I just hate his ult in the sense that it picks them up. But we can't deny that he's a fantastic crowd control. Can't deny it. For the teams I run, like when I run the Tartag team, the Constant Vape team, I find that his grouping is inferior to Kazuha's. And Sucrose is the reason I don't use Sucrose. Since we're talking about Kazuha's, Kazuha's who I put in her spot, because I genuinely think Kazuha's infinitely better than Sucrose, and I think he's better than Venti. I love him so much more. Xiao is a hyper carry. I think all hyper carries should easily be an S, because not many characters are hyper. Like, there's a lot of characters are DPS characters, right? Like, you can make Ayaka a DPS. You can make physical Zhongli. I don't know if you want to. Apparently, according to Tectone, you could make cryo Zhongli. Hu Tao is a carry. Ganyu is a hard carry as well. She's not a hyper carry, though. I wouldn't say that. But, like, Ito is a hyper carry. Xiao is a hyper carry, where you want them on the field 99.9% of the time. Tartaglia is not, because its E cooldown would be long as hell. So there's not many characters you could really say. I think D-Luke you could probably make the case for being a hyper carry, because you could just pull out Xingqiu's rain swords and then have him, like normal E to constantly vape them. Xingyan, nobody uses her. Rosaria, C. Rosaria is a really good cryo battery for somebody like Ganyu, who doesn't really need it. More like Ayaka, really, because Ayaka's I believe her burst cost is 80. If it's not 80, it's 70, but it's up there. Or sorry, not 70, 60, but it's I'm pretty sure it's 80. So she makes a good cryo battery for Ayaka. Same with that. That's also like a lot of characters can be nice batteries for other characters, and it's really nice to have. Eula can hit 10 million damage in a single instance. So if you're on damage per screenshot timing, she's like your favorite character, right? For me, not so much. I don't have Eula, but I think Eula is a fantastic character, and I would love to be able to use her at some point. Whenever she comes out, I will be getting her on her next rerun, whatever that is. Yanfei is fine. Yanfei is a good pyro applicator, but I'm not too keen on her. But Kazuha, S tier. Kazuha, I firmly believe that Ito and or Kazuha are the best unit in the game. Matter of fact, if we're gonna best characters in the game, I currently believe that those two. I don't even want them behind anybody else over here. Like everybody else here is kind of interchangeable, whatever. Like, I'd put them wherever. But these two, I wouldn't even bother disrespecting them, putting them under anybody else here. Yoimiya, I think she's fun. She's fine. She's a very fun character to play. I enjoy her gameplay very much. A lot of people hate her a lot. It's very unwarranted, but it is what it is. This is a taxi. Why are there two Kazuhas? That's weird. We'll leave that out with Yaimiko. I think is A tier. She's fantastic. No pun intended. I think she's A tier. She's fantastic. You can actually even use her as a hyper carry if you wanted to. I wouldn't, but you can. I think she does great DPS, especially with how much energy she's building off her burst. You could have 100% uptime on her burst easily, like 100 energy recharge, not even trying to energy recharge her at all. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. She's like fantastic. Good battery, but other than that, not much. Fantastic in freeze comps. Uh, uh, Toma, I don't know much about Toma. I know that he has a shield that I believe stacks off of his HP. But a shield character, obviously, it can't be too terrible. They are adding protection. But yeah, that's my tier list. Just because there's a second Kazuha, Kazuha's the best character. We're gonna put him there, and yeah, this is my tier list. So if you enjoyed, please subscribe, hit the like button, and join me up on Twitch, twitch.tv/the First Guardian YT, and I'll talk to you guys there whenever I'm streaming. Peace.